1710. When she was 23 years old, she and her older sister Anna followed Conrad Beisel to Ephrata and lived in a cabin on the other side of the Kukalika Creek. She rose to prominence in the community and was eventually given the title of spiritual mother. She became Beisel's female counterpart and led the sisterhood known as the Roses of Sharon. Maria was completely devoted to Beisel's teachings and took his practices to the extreme. She fasted for long periods of time and she slept little. She lived so austerely that Beisel had to ask her to ease up for her own health. Maria had a tremendous impact on this community. She wrote 19 hymns and is credited for designing the white hoods that the sisters and brothers wore. As she became more powerful, she challenged the leadership of the community. Her attempt failed and eventually she was dismissed as prioress. She lived quietly in the sisters' house until her death in 1784, at the age of 74.
Maria Sauer was a married woman who left her husband and 9-year-old son in 1730 to be near Beisel in Conestoga. She lived alone in the wilderness before eventually joining the sisterhood here at Ephrata. Her reasoning for leaving her husband is unknown. However, it seems that she had an unhappy marriage. Her husband, Christopher Sauer, was a printer in Philadelphia. A book published on his press expressed advice on how a wife should act. This book stressed the importance of a wife being obedient and not criticizing her husband for being unable to find work or contradicting him in child rearing. The book appears to reflect Christopher Sauer's wishes on how his disobedient wife should have acted. After joining the sisterhood, she took on the name Sister Marcella and was appointed sub-prioress under Mother Maria until 1744. In that year, her son asked her to return home to her family, and she did. She later died in 1752.
Katerina Bieler, or Sister Esther, married Christopher Bieler and had 3 children. She began to practice abstinence in her marriage, leading her husband to start associating with a widowed neighbor, Elizabeth Schula, who became pregnant. Katerina then left her husband and her family and joined the sisterhood here at Ephrata. That prompted her husband, Elizabeth, and their child to move away to Virginia. Katerina died at Ephrata, allowing Christopher to marry Elizabeth, who then died in 1758. So he took a 3rd wife, Eliseba von Hernig. Eliseba started to dream about the ghosts of her husband's first 2 wives, claiming they visited her to tell her about the money they had saved for their children. The ghosts encouraged the couple to go to Ephrata, where Beisel conducted an exorcism in the Zoll to send away the ghosts. After the couple returned to Virginia, Eliseba never saw the ghosts again.
Margareta was the wife of Ludwig Hocker. They were one of the householder couples who took part in Beisel's spiritual divorce experiment, but eventually decided to make their divorce legal. She became Sister Albina. Maria was their teenage daughter, who lived with her mother in the sister's house, or with friends, till she turned 18, at which point she could join the sisterhood. Her spiritual name became Sister Petronella, and she created one of the only surviving pieces of needlework found at Ephrata.